Right now at 5:30, police were at an overnight standoff in Lexington for hours. We'll have more on that just ahead.
Also on WKYT this morning, a Kentucky court has ordered a Lexington women's clinic to stop performing abortions. The reason why that ruling has come down coming up.
And we have new footage this morning of the UK basketball player's arrest. We'll show you that footage ahead on WKYT this morning.
This is WKYT This Morning.
WKYT also getting in place to cover breaking news this morning in Fleming County, a fire there. Good morning, I'm Bill Bryant.
I'm Rebecca Smith. Let's see what's happening with the weather, because it's going to get nice, and that is good news in time for Father's Day.
That's the good thing, and it's settled down, Micah, after kind of a tough night.
Yeah, it was a tough night, especially here in Lexington, because there was a lot of power outage going on, and especially for the eastern portion of the town, of the city that is. And really, it wasn't even that strong of a thunderstorm. I mean, we had some heavy downpours. It was the lightning that we actually got out of it. That actually caused some problems here and there. Good news is long gone early this morning. You're starting to see a glimpse of daylight early this morning. By the afternoon, 88 degrees. Mostly sunny skies through much of your day, but by the afternoon, can't rule out a couple of rumbles of thunder. This is not a great chance of rain today. Most of it stays in the far south and southeastern zones. I'll get into that, and I'm also going to show you when this front actually moves through and that cooler air you've been hearing about. I'll show you when that arrives, coming up in a few minutes.
Hey, we'll see you then. A strong storm moving through Lexington around 9 o'clock last night did knock out power to thousands of homes.
Most of the outages are on the east side of the city. Police were out in the dark last night directing traffic on Winchester Road as Kentucky utility crews worked to get power back up and running. At one point, 5,700 customers were without electricity in Lexington. About 12:30 this morning, most people had the power back on. Remember, we can help you track storms with the WKYT Weather Plus Traffic app. Download it for free through the app or Google Play stores. Well, breaking news this morning, we are tracking in Lexington. Police have been locked in a standoff near Versailles Road for about 5 hours now.
It's been going on since about 12:30. The scene is on Doville Drive off Oxford Circle. Police say the gunman and a child are still inside a home. WKYT's Hillary Thornton is there live this morning with what we know so far. Hillary?
Good morning. That's right. As you mentioned, this all happening on Doville Drive, which is just off of where I'm standing here on Oxford Circle. You can see the police cruisers behind me kind of blocking that area off. Police say it started around 12:30 this morning when some neighbors heard gunshots coming from a home. Once officers got to that house, they quickly realized the man was armed with a gun. After identifying themselves, they say he then fired at them. Lexington police not returning fire, instead taking cover. The suspect ran around the house and back inside. Now, there was a little confusion at first because officers did not know where exactly he went. They brought a K-9 unit out. That unit did a track, and they then felt confident that that suspect went back inside the home. Now, this all happening with 2 young kids and a wife inside. Police then put a spotlight on the house and were able to talk him into letting the wife out. Then a child was released as well. However, 1 young child does still remain inside of that home with the man who's armed with a gun. Investigators say they believe the man is depressed and possibly suicidal. They say with that child inside, they're not taking any chances. Now, this standoff is going on hour 5. The emergency response unit is out here. They do have some roads in this area blocked off right now, so if you can't avoid the area, you can see part of Oxford Circle where I am is blocked off, and then much of Cambridge Drive is also blocked off. For now, live in Lexington, Hillary Thornton, WKYT.
All right, we'll stay on top of the story. Thank you, Hillary. New this morning, we have dash cam footage of the arrest of a UK basketball player. Derek Willis was arrested early Saturday morning in Boone County for alcohol intoxication. According to his arrest citation, a deputy found Willis in the street next to a car. The car's driver's door was open and a strong smell of alcohol was coming from it, according to that citation. Now, the deputy said that Willis was passed out and had to be awakened. Willis was taken to jail but later released on bond. UK released a statement Monday saying they were aware of the situation and would refrain from commenting for the time being.
Well, President Barack Obama will travel to Florida later today to meet with survivors and families of those killed in the Pulse nightclub shooting.
CBS News' Kenneth Craig now is in Orlando with the latest on the investigation.
FBI investigators are methodically piecing together Omar Mateen's movements leading up to the deadly shooting rampage inside the Pulse nightclub in Orlando. A former co-worker said Mateen was a ticking time bomb.
Omar was a deeply disturbed man. He was full of hate, full of rage.
In an ominous Facebook post minutes before the attack, the shooter wrote, "You kill innocent women and children by doing U.S. airstrikes. Now taste the Islamic State vengeance." CBS News sources say Mateen's wife, Noor Salman, knew her husband was planning the attack. She also drove with him to stake out the gay club.
At the end of all of our interviews, however long that takes, if someone is able to be charged in this investigation, we will bring them to justice.
President Obama and Vice President Biden will arrive in Orlando later today to meet with survivors, first responders, and families of the victims killed in the attack.
The first funeral service for one of the shooting victims was held yesterday. In Orlando, family and friends remembered 40-year-old Javier Jorge Reyes. Those who knew him called him a fun, free spirit. Dozens of people gathered across the street to show support. One held a sign that said, "Orlando loves you." Kenneth Craig, CBS News, Orlando.
Of the 53 people injured in the shooting, 30 remain in the hospital this morning. The Senate Homeland Security Committee is asking Facebook to provide them with the shooter's online activity. The Orlando attack has nightclubs in Lexington taking a closer look at their security. Managers of 2 bars downtown say they plan to meet with Lexington's police chief tomorrow and go over police patrols along with safety and security protocols. Last night, people going to bars around the city told us they generally feel safe when they're out on the town, and that Sunday's attack doesn't change that. But they say they are glad that bars in Lexington are taking their security seriously.
It's sad that we have to have that kind of security for when people go to have a good time. You know, usually when you think of a bar, you think of like maybe a few people get drunk and then go and fight, or you know, something like that. But you don't ever think about people being murdered at a massacre, and it's just really sad to hear about that.
Lexington police say they have an increased presence right now out on the streets, and that they will have also more security at the city's upcoming Pride Festival on June 25th.
Another tragic story that's coming out of the Orlando area. We're hearing more about the very sad ending to the search for a 2-year-old boy who was dragged into a Florida lagoon by an alligator. We first told you about the attack yesterday morning. Police say the boy was playing in shallow water near Disney's Grand Floridian Resort when he was attacked Tuesday night. Yesterday afternoon, police say they found that boy's body.
Of course, the family was distraught, but also, I believe, somewhat relieved that we were able to find their son with his body intact.
In a statement, Disney said that the company is devastated and heartbroken by what has happened. They say they're doing what they can to help the family out. Police say 5 alligators were removed from that lagoon and euthanized during the search.
Our time this morning is 5:38 on WKYT. A Lexington clinic has been ordered to stop performing abortions. Michelle Chamberlain is at our alert desk with some details on that court case. Michelle.
Bill, a Kentucky appeals court has ordered the EMW Women's Clinic on Burt Road to stop performing abortions until it gets a license from the state. Governor Matt Bevin had asked the judge to force the clinic to shut down. A state judge denied his request in March, but now an appeals court has reversed that decision. The clinic's owner says he is exempt from the license requirement because the clinic is a private physician's office. The judges questioned whether the clinic would qualify as a private office because it has performed only abortions for the past year. Scott White, the clinic's attorney, said the clinic's owner would probably appeal to the state Supreme Court. Now, Governor Bevin tweeted this. This is the right and necessary ruling to ensure that the health and safety of women are protected. He went on to call the order an important victory for the rule of law in Kentucky. Bill?
Thank you, Michelle. Well, we have new information about a Florida double murder suspect arrested in Kentucky. Prosecutors in Florida now say they plan to seek the death penalty against Michael Harold. They say in April he killed John and Nancy Englehart at the couple's home near Tampa. Harold worked for the couple, but he's originally from Perry County. Kentucky State Police say that's where they arrested him a few days after the murders. And an Indiana man arrested on weapons and ammunition charges before a gay pride event in California now faces new charges. Yesterday, prosecutors in Clark County, Indiana, near Louisville, charged 20-year-old James Howell with child molestation. Investigators say last month Howell took a 12-year-old girl into a forest and had sex with her. Police in California say Howell had an assault weapon and explosives and told them he was headed to the gay pride event in Los Angeles when they arrested him on Sunday.
More than 20 suspected drug dealers are taken off the streets during a roundup in Pulaski County. The sheriff says yesterday's arrests are the results of an undercover drug buy that went on over the last 3 months. Investigators say the suspects dealt in oxycodone, heroin, and meth. Some of the suspects have been arrested before, and police say none of them put up a fight when they were arrested.
There's always a possibility that during the service of those warrants that you could encounter anything. You don't know, because these folks often are under the influence of the drugs themselves.
Police say all of the suspects were taken to jail on a $25,000 cash or property bond. We have a full list of those arrested on our website, WKYT.com.
Well, there was a little bit of excitement in Harlan County this week, when we say a little, really a lot, as filming of a movie continues there. The movie, called Above Suspicion, also filmed in Lexington recently, tells the story of an FBI agent convicted of strangling his informant in Pike County. Some storefronts in Harlan were changed to make them look like Pikeville in the 80s and early 90s. Business owners say the filming's brought a lot of excitement.
You know, we've had so many financial hardships, and it's good to see production and just to have some movement through our town again.
The film crew was scheduled to work on their wrap up their work in Harlan yesterday before moving on to other filming locations. That's very neat.
Right. Neat to see some of those old cars and the way they sort of retrofitted the town.
Oh,
you know,
yeah, it's always neat to see the Hollywood crews in town for a big movie. Makes you feel pretty important.
Yeah, trying to go to back in the day there. 5:42 is our time on WKYT this morning. Let's check live drive traffic and see what is going on. And here's a map of the region right now. Current traffic is good. Good flow. We have no reports of any major problems anywhere. We did have some intersections that were dark in Lexington in the overnight hours. Power has been restored. Police no longer needed to direct traffic along some sections of Man of War.
Isn't it a bummer when that stuff in the fridge goes bad when the power goes out? That is the worst part of that, right?
That's the other problem.
Yes. Well, okay, so this is a very, very quiet view right now of High Street and Euclid Avenue. Downtown pretty much has not come to life quite yet,
yeah,
but it will.
Lexington Fayette Urban County Government camera down there, and it is a little sleepy right now early this morning. Good to have you with us on WKYT this morning. There's a lot more news coming up early on your Thursday.
Well, a recent ultrasound has a Missouri couple answering some unusual questions about their baby. Find out why that picture is so popular on social media coming up on WKYT.
Still have the front to the north of us. It's heading our direction. Possibility of a couple of rumbles of thunder are there today, but it's really about your weekend forecast. A lot of events going on. I'm going to go over those events and the weather for those coming up next.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris.
You know, it's a pretty good looking morning in store. I really don't see much of an issue as you're walking out the door early this morning. If you're one of those walkers or runners early in the morning, more power to you, number one. But number two, it's really good weather for it. We're holding on to temperatures there early this morning in the 60s, getting a glimpse of daylight. Beautiful start to the morning. Jackson looks really good. Some of that valley fog as usual. London, Corbin area, no problems. We had a little active evening yesterday evening, but wasn't all that bad. Now, however, the main thing we got out of this was just some power outages. I say just some. If you were involved in that, that was about a 3-hour-long power outage. It's around 12:30 early this morning that we actually took care of all those power outages. So it's back on for the most part, maybe a few isolated spots here and there. Still with some power outages because of those thunderstorms, because of the lightning out of these. Now, we have another rain chance for today. It's not a great chance, but I've outlined an area. So if you're not looking at the screen, check out the screen real quick, and I'll show you where I expect the best chance of rain. The best opportunity looks to be over toward east and southeastern Kentucky. That's the best chance if you work your way Pine Knot, Stearns, Monticello, work your way through Williamsburg, all the way up toward Pikeville and Pike County, Knott County, Floyd County, Perry County. Those areas right there is the best opportunity. Then you get as far north as, say, Lexington. A small chance in this region, anywhere from Lexington down 75 all the way to Rockcastle County. Your 127 corridors down south, not so much to the north. Frankfort, I would give you a 5 to 10% chance of rain, and that's it. For the most part, you're going to stay dry. Moorhead, a decent opportunity, about 30%. But you see, it's just not a great chance of rain today. So let me take you hour by hour and show you when I expect this. Most of this will come anywhere between 2 and 9 p.m. But you can see getting in toward the afternoon, I don't want you to forget, it's going to be really, really warm today. We'll be right there in the upper 80s to around 90 degrees. And that's 6 p.m. You get in 7, 8 p.m., still not much showing up. So that just shows you we're not going to expect much out of this. But if you do get under one of these, it's going to be heavy downpours and some lightning with it. And then tomorrow, only a small chance of rain tomorrow, especially for eastern Kentucky. It's about the temperatures tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday, guys, as we have many events going on. 82 degrees there and on Friday, 84 Saturday. 86 on Sunday. Low humidity. That's going to be the key.
Oh, that's great.
Yep, absolutely.
We will enjoy that. Thank you very much. Time this morning is 5:49 in a couple of seconds. A quick reminder that we are responding to breaking news. There is a business apparently going up in flames in Fleming County, and we'll have the details just as soon as we're able to get in place for that. All right, questions. Is it a boy? Is it a girl? Or is it a car?
Okay, maybe not what you want to hear. The question asked after a sonogram. Wow, that really does resemble a vehicle. A pregnant woman recently had a sonogram with the really just, it's taking off. People interested in this, social media people weighing in on what type of car it looks like. Mike and Rena Roberts were so amused when they saw the sonogram picture of their little baby car, what have you, that they posted the picture on Reddit. That's when people started guessing what kind of car Rena was having. One person wrote, "Congrats on your Nissan 370Z." Another wrote, "Hate to break it to you, but that's a PT Cruiser." Oh, okay, I knew it looked like something, and that is what I think it looks like. Mike thinks the baby is a Bugatti, one of the world's most expensive cars. What do you think, Bill?
I'm not quite sure.
A caddy, maybe?
But it's actually, an image of the baby's femur being measured. Apparently it's what this is as the sweep goes by. We'll just see. They're talking about
the all-new Ford Fetus. Oh, that's good.
Well, that was one option, I guess. So anyway, we'll see if maybe they give the baby a car name.
Oh man, a little sonogram humor.
Hope you keep it here. We have more news coming up on WKYT this morning.
Yeah, you'll get the latest and any traffic issues. Stay with us.
Good morning. Welcome back in to WKYT this morning. Glad you're with us on your Thursday.
Yeah, thanks for being here with us. Let's take a look right now at some of those stories we're working on for you at this hour.
Police have been locked in a standoff near Versailles Road for more than 4 hours this morning in Lexington. Police say neighbors heard shots coming from the home on Deauville Drive at about 12:30 last night. They say the gunman and a child are still inside a home. The wife of the gunman and another child were able to get out safely overnight.
A 15-hour filibuster on the Senate floor over gun control is just wrapped up. It was led by Connecticut Senator Chris Murphy. He and his colleagues say they will work hard for a legislative response to the Orlando shooting.
The Kentucky Court of Appeals has ordered a women's clinic in Lexington to stop performing abortions until it gets a license from the state. Governor Matt Bevin had asked a judge to force the clinic to shut down. A state judge denied his request in March. Now this appeals court ruling has reversed that decision.
Well, President Barack Obama and Vice President Joe Biden will be traveling to Florida this afternoon.
They'll be meeting with survivors and paying their respects to the families of those killed in the Pulse nightclub shooting in Orlando. The president is also expected to personally thank the first responders who saved countless lives. The first funeral service was held yesterday in Orlando. Javier Ruiz was one of 49 people killed by Omar Mateen. And Bernie Sanders will be addressing his millions of supporters tonight. He is scheduled to make an online video address beginning at 8:30 Eastern Time. He'll be talking about what is next for his campaign.
Let's get a check right now on today's traffic trail spots and a look at live drive traffic.
See what's going on out there, and right now we'll take a look at your drive times from Nicholasville, normal right in. Same from Paris and from Winchester and Richmond. It's all about normal times this morning. No reports of any early issues out there. I think we'll take a look at the Urban County government camera now.
Still
from
pretty quiet.
High Street and Euclid. Yeah, nobody's crawled out much out there this morning, but there's somebody.
It'll get going.
Somebody coming up the way
Eventually.
there. All right.
There's the one Lone Ranger.
City's slowly coming to life this morning. And after, a night, we had some storms rolling through and some power outages, so folks have been dealing with lots of things. And let's check in with Micah.
Yeah, and now it looks pretty good this morning. Getting that glimpse of daylight, I'm not seeing much go on outside early this morning. And some of us waking up to bright blue skies. Once that sun rises just a little bit more, you'll see that live sky camera with that shot. Temperatures are in the 60s. It's not a bad feel as you walk outside. It's actually quite nice, 66 degrees now in Madison County. And we go through your day, 88 by the afternoon to around 91 degrees. It all depends on where you are. And also a couple of rumbles of thunder in the forecast. Now, that's not for everybody. Actually, I expect that to be right there around that 64 corridor southbound. That's your best bet. But the greatest chance still looks like far south and southeastern Kentucky. That's going to be the greatest chance there in the forecast, and also the greatest chance for maybe a strong to potentially a stray severe cell. I'm going to get into that, and I'm going to show you not only that, but also your Friday into your weekend. Here comes a cold front that's going to be barreling through later on tonight after these 88 degrees, and it's going to drop those temperatures big time. If you're about to take off, have a great day and be safe out there. If you're not, stick with us. We have another hour of WKYT News.